It's fantastic. It's opportunities like these are quite rare where you get such a diverse spread of people from different institutions across the state. I can see people here from different disciplines. So these kind of opportunities for young people don't always pop up. As soon as Philip sort of emailed me and said, would you be free? I said, definitely. So
I'm from Hoppers and Susan Corey High School, which is also in Hoppers, and I heard about it from school, and I'd really like to meet some of the people and the science leaders.
I heard about the Oration from school as well, and I guess I'm also here to meet some science leaders and business people and also maybe know more about the importance of science in our society, I guess.
So we've come from CSIRO, the Australian Animal Health Laboratories, out in Geelong. So we're all PhD students, and part of our student committee we organised to attend the Oration together.
What do you hope to get from Jeff's talk this evening?
Quite a few different things, I guess some broadenings. We're all, as I was mentioning, PhD students, so we're quite narrowed into our little specialities. So it's really good just to hear these influential talks and try to broaden our view on what's actually happening in the breakthrough in sciences.
I expect to hear a very thoughtful overview of the important topic of how we're going to cope with the economic and political and geographical difficulties of feeding the increasing world population. It's a really important issue.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great pleasure for Elizabeth and me to be at this, the 5th Graeme Clark Oration, which, as we know, was established to honour the great achievements and contributions of Professor Clark to modern medicine and health. The continued growth in the popularity of this lecture is testament both to the quality of the event and the continued interest in the scientific and social development issues by the community of Victoria, like what Professor Graeme Clark has done in producing the bionic ear and the current multidisciplinary development of the bionic eye. It involves partnerships and joint ventures because the great challenges of our time are too vast and too costly to be resolved by any one person, entity, and usually through only one discipline. Unsurprisingly, the speaker on each occasion has been a person of eminence in his or her area, and tonight's orator, Mr. Geoffrey Lamb, is no exception.
Just over the last 10 years or so, we have really seen the public health effort in so many of these areas take shape in a way that I think has got terrific promise. 370 million kids have been vaccinated by Gavi funding, and the estimate is that over 5 million deaths that would have occurred have been averted as a result of that. So there are, alongside the economic growth which is powering people out of poverty, we have this fantastic effort in global health that my foundation, our foundation, is a part of, that the Australian government is a great partner in, that is making a huge impact on things that have killed poor people and killed children in particular for many years. So I'm very grateful for Australian partnership, for our work at the Gates Foundation, for Australia as a great proponent of strong economic growth and open markets and open opportunity. And I'm very grateful, too, for the commitment of Australian scientists as epitomized in the great tradition of Graeme Clark in tackling the really important problems of human misery and illness and bringing us closer to that day when not only can we say there are almost no extremely poor people left in the world, but we can also say the things that we can tackle that kill poor people, we have brought under control, and we're bringing ultimately to eradication. Thank you very much indeed.
I'd especially like to thank Jeff on behalf of scientists in Melbourne and Australia who have been supported by the Gates Foundation. This support is invaluable and plays a key role in the global outreach of the Foundation. I'd also like to acknowledge those from schools who've come. I hope that Jeff's inspiring address will lead you to future endeavours to make the world a better place.
Well, I think the dinner gives people in the audience the opportunity to question the speaker, and it produces an intimacy and a bit of give and take. There are often lots of unasked questions and unanswered questions in the course of an oration, and the dinner provides that additional opportunity.
Tonight we saw a brilliant exposition of what can be done for global poverty, and in particular what a big role health plays in creating a more vibrant and viable society. We've got a pretty cool Melbourne evening here, and nearly 2,000 people came to hear Jeff Lamb describe in simple, passionate and very articulate terms what really the foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, is trying to achieve, and how vital, for example, vaccines can be in the search for better health.
And we're all heading upstairs for dinner and a drink now. What are you hoping to get from the rest of the event? What are you looking forward to this evening?
Well, I'm looking forward to probing a little bit more deeply. Of course, my interest will often be in the new scientific advances.
You've got to have the great scientists, you've got to have the great scientific institutions, but you've also got to bring together all the players and all the partners, and bring together the scientists with government, with Gates Foundation, with other not-for-profit arms, with the innovators. You know, you think of the bionic ear and the change that's made around the world. You think of Fred Hollow's foundation and just removal of cataracts, restoring the power of sight. So there's lots of things that we can do around the world, but they need partnerships to really deliver the program. So I think that's the other great thing about tonight. It brings together all of the key players, and hopefully after the speech and through all the discussion, more steps towards removing and lifting more people out of poverty will come through because of tonight's discussions.
My name's Isabel Todd and I'm from Kyneton Secondary College. My teacher emailed us, students from our chemistry class, an email about this event, and I volunteered to go because it sounded really interesting and like a good opportunity. I think some of the ideas were really powerful to hear. Today's definitely made me even more enthusiastic about studying science, seeing some of the great things that it can do.
Emma Young, and I'm here representing Brighton Secondary College. I am studying Health and Human Development, and Unit 4 is a lot about what was talked about in the oration, so it's kind of like a bit of a head start, which is really good in VCE. I knew that people lived on quite a low amount, but I didn't realise it was quite that low, like $1.25 a day. I'm not sure how I would cope on that.
So my name's Kate Taylor. I'm at the Nossal Institute for Global Health, which is a new school of population and global health. And I used to work with Jeff at the Global Fund in the early days of starting it. And then I worked at the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative, where Jeff is on the board with Ian Gust. And so I was so pleased to see him finally make it to Melbourne. I was so impressed tonight to see particularly so many school children, and I think the reason is it was part of the inspirational message. This vision of ending absolute poverty is a wonderful thing, and that someone like Bill Gates wants to put his money behind it, and someone with the talents of Jeff Lamb believes in it so strongly. I think everyone wanted to come and be inspired.
I think the key message for me that Jeff gave me that I was surprised about was how much progress we've made since the 1980s.
An event like this draws together politicians, it draws together scientists, doctors, population health, the full gamut of some of the greatest minds, and we sit around and after an inspirational talk like that, talk about what we can do better.
I am particularly keen to hear from the high school students tonight as well. But all of you, please, this is your chance to participate and reflect together on some of the issues that we were provoked to discuss by Jeff's fantastic presentation.
Hi, I'm Rachel Biazzo from Brunswick Secondary College, and I was just wondering how you thought in poverty-stricken areas climate change has affected the food and water supply.
Well, we really have to start by looking at the foundations of a community and what's going on in the context that you're in.
Questions when we're talking about the control of fertility. The slave trade is increasing.
What are your thoughts on homelessness?
How can young people play a role in making effective and positive change, and how important are their views to you?
We need to be held to account. We're a government agency. AusAid is being very rigorous on these issues, but we need that pressure. We need to hear from civil society and young people in this country. And
you should be impatient, not take no for an answer, and not take benign platitudes from people like me as acceptable arguments. You should be awkward and rebellious and push.
You all seem to have great jobs, but what's the most motivating and the best part of your job that gets you up in the morning and gets you going?
That's a great question. I'd love to hear the entire room answer that one.
I am amazed at the idealism of our young people. The future belongs to them. I would say to all of them, go for it. There are many of you who want to tread this pathway. I have nothing but the greatest respect for them.
Wonderful, Gus Nossel. Thank you very much for being here and supporting this oration. Thank you.